If you've been running Windows 10 for a while, I'm sure you've seen notices from Microsoft indicating the end of life for Windows 10 will be October 14th, 2025. At that point, Microsoft will no longer provide free security updates. And I'm sure you're facing the question of what to do next. I'd like to show you some of the options that are available to you. Once I run down the list, I'll show you the option that I chose. You do have the option of continuing to use Windows 10 without security updates. That's really not recommended because of the security concerns and the possible malware that could infect your computer. I have seen in April 2024 a notice that there would be paid support for security updates from Microsoft. Be $61 for the first year, $122 for the second, $244 for the third, and I'm not sure if it continues to double after that. I'm sure the intent is to provide people a bit of a lifeline so they can continue to use Windows 10, but also with the increasing cost to provide an incentive to move on to a different operating system. If your computer supports it with a relatively recent CPU and a TPM 2.0 module, and that's Trusted Platform Module, you could simply upgrade your current computer to Windows 11. Again, that's if your computer supports it. If it doesn't, you may be faced with replacing the computer with Windows 11 pre-installed. There are other options too. One is to install an operating system called Chrome Operating System Flex, Chrome OS Flex, and essentially turn your current computer into a Chromebook. You could potentially install Linux as a completely different operating system, and there may be other options as well. Right now, I'd like to show you the options that I've chosen. We know we have to install updates on our operating system and any apps that we may have installed on our computer. So let me show you how I'm doing this. Go to the Start menu, go to the Update Manager, open it. We find that we do have an update waiting for one of the apps. So simply click Install the updates, enter the password, authenticate, and we can let that run in the background. And while that's happening, I'll show you how to install an app. In this operating system, I don't currently have GIMP installed. GIMP is the new, and that's GNU, not the opposite of old, image manipulation program. It's used for editing images a lot like Adobe Photoshop. We'll open the Software Manager and simply type GIMP in the search box. Here we have GIMP, and we'll click the System Package and install it, along with any other additional software required to run the app. Enter the password to authenticate, and we're ready to run the program by clicking Launch. Obviously, we're not going to want to do that every time we want to run it, so let's go to the Start menu, start typing GIMP, and here we can find the new image manipulation program. Click on it to launch it. And we'll close it. One thing we frequently do using a computer is to copy a file and place that copy in a new location, or simply cut the file from its current location and place it somewhere else. For purposes of this video, I've created a file called demo.txt and placed it here on the desktop. I want to move that file to a subfolder in the home directory, and we'll create a new directory called New OS. So let's open that up. If we look at the desktop folder, here you can see demo.txt. In my operating system, I can view an extra pane, which is a separate location from the one on the left-hand side. So we'll click on that to activate it. Go to Documents, and I'm going to right-click to bring up the menu to create a new folder. And again, call that New OS and open it. We can simply drag that file that's currently in the desktop folder, drag it over to the right-hand side, and it's now in our New OS subfolder. So let's go to Documents, again New OS, and there's our demo.txt. By now, either you're thoroughly confused trying to figure out what I've done to modify Windows 10 to make it look like this, or you've come to the realization that this is not Windows 10. It isn't. It's actually Linux Mint. And let's change the wallpaper. And now you can see that this actually is Linux Mint. I've taken this approach because a lot of people believe that Linux is a very difficult operating system to use, and I wanted to keep you engaged and watching the video so that you could see, rather than just hear, that Linux is a very easy operating system to use, and it's a viable option for Windows. In a way, this is an infomercial, because I've come up with a course on udemy.com that will show you how to use Linux Mint on your computer, either in parallel with Windows, where you can choose which operating system you want to use, or as the only operating system. So I do have a link below the video. If you choose to investigate that further, please click the link, and you can have some additional information on not only trying out Linux Mint off of a flash drive so that you're not impacting your primary computer, how to install Linux Mint either as the only operating system or in parallel with Windows, where you can choose which one you want to use, how to network a Linux Mint and a Windows computer so they can share files back and forth on your home network, and also how to do some editing of videos with your Linux Mint operating system. So please consider this. I think it would be great to keep some older computers out of the landfill in the event that they're not capable of running Windows 11, and this would be a great way to do it. Thanks.